Christine Beatty here, and today I want to talk about how we hold our driving lines. So I'm going to show you two different ways. I use both of these quite regularly. I change between them depending on the horse, depending on what we're doing, depending on how my hands feel that day. So I'm going to give you two totally valid options and show you a couple things to avoid while we're at it. So if you're a rider and you're used to putting your reins between your fourth finger and your pinky, we can do that with driving too. We just want to make one change. Put the lines between the fourth finger and pinky, but then we're going to run the tail of the line over our thumb and continue it back. Okay, so on this hand, between the fourth finger and pinky, over the thumb. Now if you were riding, this is where you would turn the rein forward. Instead, we're going to turn it back so that it comes over the thumb and continues towards us. Okay, so that looks basically like that. Obviously, I haven't taken any contact right now. I don't want to annoy Tony too much while I'm showing you this. I'm going to have a closed hand, closed fingers, but relaxed. I don't have a death grip here, right? My hands are soft. My hands are following his movement. But a lot of people will tend to keep these fingers open, and that's a habit you want to avoid. So you want to keep the fingers just gently closed around the reins, around the lines. Okay, now the tails of my lines, you'll notice how I've got them draped over my elbow here. This is super, super important. Okay, a couple of things I've done here. I'll actually show you from the ground. I've got really long lines. Yours might not be this long, so it might be easier for you. So what I do is I make sure they're even first, and then I'm going to gather up the excess. I fold it over, okay? So it's folded, not looped, okay? We never want to loop the lines. And the reason for that is if, heaven forbid, the horse were to get away on us, we don't want that loop catching our hand, catching a foot, catching a neck, heaven forbid, okay? No loops, never, never loops. So I just fold them neatly. These lines have some good weight to them. So I just fold them so the excess is about even, and I hook it over my elbow, okay? Then that leaves me with lots of line to pick up, drive my horse. I've got some excess here, okay? So I've got lots to work with. I can lengthen them, I can shorten them. I'm just going to make sure that these tails are such that I'm not bound to step on them. This one's still sitting a little long, so I'm going to fix that there. There we go. Something like that, okay? Always over my elbow, okay? You'll see some folks throw the lines over the shoulder. Please don't do this, okay? Some folks swear by it. When you got enough miles, you can do what you want. But I'm going to tell you right now, those lines are on your shoulder, and your horse suddenly spins and goes that way. What are these lines doing? Okay? Please don't put yourself in that position. Okay? The elbow is always going to be the safest spot for the excess line. Okay? Now, one other option, if your lines are quite short and you actually don't have enough excess to hook on your elbow, you can just hold the extra on your pinky. Okay? You can have it in your hands, and it's hard to show you with these lines, but some shorter lines have a buckle, and you can just kind of hook that buckle over your pinky. Okay? So that's a valid option as well. But the most important pieces here are that the tails are out of the way. We're not going to step on them. He's not going to step on them. We're not tripping over them here. Okay? And we're not going to get them wrapped around our neck or our body in some sketchy way. Okay? Everyone with me? Now, holding my lines like this. So riding reins would be like so. All we're doing is flipping them back over our thumbs. Okay? You can see that in both hands. And then gently closing our fingers. And then our whip, because we're always going to drive with a whip as well. So I'll pick up my whip here. hold in my right hand, and my default position I carry to the left of my horse. That's the most neutral position for my wrist, okay? I can bring it over to the right side if I need. Using the whip's a whole other conversation, but this is going to be my neutral, my default. All right? Now, option number 2 is you can hold the lines between your first and second fingers. Okay? So like scissors, chop the lines. Okay? And then the rest is just going to sit in the palm of my hand like so. All right? Can we see that there? In my left hand, first and second finger, open up, and then the rest just sits here in the palm of my hand. Okay? So this also, notice my wrists are in a very neutral position. Okay? My fingers again are closed around the lines. No death grip, just a comfortable hold on the lines. Just such that they're not going to slide through my hands inadvertently. Whip, same thing. Again, I put it in my right hand. I've got my line is in my hand, and then I'm going to put the whip between my thumb and my first finger and close the rest of my fingers on it. What I particularly like about this handhold is you can see I have this pointer finger that separates my line from my whip. So I can keep a very relaxed, easy position with my hands and wrists, but I can still maneuver my whip very easily separate from the rest of the line. So I quite like that. Okay, both of these positions are totally valid. Again, everything else is exactly the same. You're welcome to switch between them. Okay, find what works best for you. You're going to find different days, different horses. You might have a different preference, and that's totally fine. Okay? One thing I don't want to see, and I see this a lot with self-taught drivers, is the fist. Okay? I call it the fist because you've got just the whole line in your hand. Okay? What I don't like about this is it feels very clumsy. Okay, you lose a lot of nuance when you do this. You lose the ability to use the small muscles in your fingers to communicate with your horse. Okay, it becomes very much like all or nothing. Also really difficult to manage the whip like that. Now I'm holding the line and the whip together, which that's awkward as anything. So no fists, okay? Either get that one finger on top of the line or flip the lines like riding reins with the tails coming back, okay? Those are your two options.